some churches in England and Wales have a trick up their sleeve, a way to extort hundreds of thousands of pounds out of the local community, all enshrined in British law. Chancel repair liability. If you happen to own a property on land that was previously owned by the church, you could have a hefty bill sprung on you. As this land was sold off, some of it was sold with strings attached. Some of it came with a legal liability for footing the bill for repairs to the chancel of the local church. The chancel is the part of the church around the altar. Now, this doesn't apply to all churches. Only Anglican churches built before 1536, and not all of the land that was sold off came with these liabilities. Let's take a trip back to 2003, to the village of Aston Cantlow in Warwickshire, England. When the parish church needed repairs, a local couple was hit with an eye-watering bill of £95,000. After a lengthy court battle, the church prevailed, leaving the couple with around £250,000 in legal fees, in addition to the original £95,000 bill, forcing them to sell their home. This understandably caused an uproar across the country, and on the back of the public outrage, some minor changes were made to the law. Prior to 2013, churches were not required to protect their right to enforce this sort of liability via registration or notice to affected property owners. This, however, was changed, requiring churches to register in a national database to affirm their interest in enforcing the liability. As a result of the change, it is now far less likely for someone to unknowingly purchase a property that carries this liability. In 2014, a bill was created to effectively end chancel repair liability altogether, but the bill failed to gain the necessary support and therefore wasn't passed into law. To my mind, this is nothing short of woefully outdated, legally backed extortion, but just how widespread is this issue? Of the approximately 5,300 parishes that had some form of chancel repair liability, only around 250 actually registered in the new system in 2013, a little less than 5%. Some churches who could have registered chose not to, citing the damage to their reputation that would be incurred, should they ever decide to actually invoke their liability right. Some churches who have registered to be able to enforce chancel repair liability claim they have no intention of actually doing so. Even if we give them the benefit of the doubt, there are still some serious negative effects arising from this liability. There are a handful of examples of churches invoking this liability and demanding payment from the local community, but whether that actually happens or not, property prices are affected regardless. As you'd expect, the value of a house is going to be impacted by the possibility that, at any point, the owners could be stung with a huge repair bill. There are around 12,000 properties across the UK that are affected by chancel repair liability. So that is at least 12,000 homes that have had their value reduced. England has a number of antiquated and ludicrous laws remaining on the books, but most of these have no measurable impact on modern life, so there's little urgency or motivation to remove them. This law, however, has significant consequences for those affected, yet for now it remains in place. What does the Church have to say on the matter? According to the Church of England website at the time of making this video, the Church cannot be expected to forego sources of funding to which it is entitled unless it receives adequate compensation. If you liked the video, perhaps consider subscribing.